Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Sarah Salsabila Ismail, student in number 221073-2002, and I would like to present my understanding regarding to the material of discourse and institution in the course of Introduction to Discourse Analysis. So, um, so for the first, I would like to explain about what is institution first. So institution is basically a mediator between individuals and a society that make a forms of an institution itself. So how does discourse and institutions correct relate to each other? So it's basically institution is basically a branch of discourse. So it's basically they make some branch of discourse into in their own kind. So there are three aspects of concept in institution in the study of discourse analysis. First of all, there are role of behavior. So the role of behavior is basically how does we regulate individual behavior throughout a system of social roles. So, I mean, so basically, the role of institution in here is basically an institution objectifies individuals, making them players to particular roles. So this role behavior these roles determine how those individual behave, and what are the expectations that we are expect from those individuals by the roles that already given to them. So that is how do we define the role of behavior. And the second one of the concept of institution, there are differentiation of trends. So it's basically this correlating to the first one, the role behavior. So basically, in that role behavior, if in one institution we given a role for the example in education institution, I would like to back to the first one, role of behavior. So if we are in education institution, there's some roles that are indicated in that institution. For example, they are lecturers, they are students, and they are assistant of lecturers, something like that. And each one of them has their own way, to perceive their roles. So it's basically and each one of the roles has their own kind of language used to determine their roles. So I mean, if you are lecturers, you the use of your language is probably going to a lot of demands, while if you're students, it's basically using a lot of language they're perceiving. So while in the second concept of institution, there's a differentiation of trends. So it's basically in this case, it is still correlating to discourse and society, where it identity of each individual has a difference. Especially this one are mentioned in this. Basically, if you are students in this education institution, what institution, for example, your organization institution, for example, you are the treasure. So it's basically the way you behave and the way you use language within those two institutions are totally different. That is how we define differentiation trend. So it's basically people has their own identity in their own field. So basically, if they are joining many institutions, they also have a many identity. Because for example, if we taking a lecturer, for example, lecturers in the education institution has their own role, has their own use of language, has their own power of domination, While on the other hand, if they are also being in this lecturer, if they're also being let's just say doctoral students in the doctoral studies, they're going to behave differently to their professor, for example, right? So that is how we define differentiation trends. And the third aspect of concept institution, we call it institutional power. It is it is how we regulate individual behavior through a code of conduct or system of rules. So it's basically institutional powers uh, have this kind of professional ethics code of conduct. So if we getting that role in one institution, we have to obey set of the rules that are already given to us. Because if we are not obeying those rules, we're going to making our own reputation bad, and we getting to get banned from that rules, or worse, we get punishment, something like that. So to describe this role that participants should fulfill in an institution, we have to analyze what kind of language that they use. Because because well, this that three concept that I just explained is basically have this power relation toward each other, that manifest the interaction between the what we call in discourse agent and client. So this interactions basically happen within, for example, in education institution, within the lecturers and students, within the professor and students, or else in other field like healthcare field. For example, it's a doctor or psychiatrist, uh, between their patient, or if in the legal context it's defendants, uh, and the witness, or the lawyer and their client. And that is how we understand the agent and client's approach. So there's also, in this course and institution, there are so many institutions. In this case, we are going to mention about politic institution, law institution, bureaucracy institution, media institution, and healthcare institution. So first of all, I would like to explain about the politics. So in this politic, the characteristic of language that politicians use are related to the strategy of obeying the face-keeping principle. So because we know that, these politicians are basically using this kind of language that need to I mean to save their face. This kind of face keeping language principle. So there are some concept that politician uh, often to use. For example, the need of modifications. The need of modifications are also divided into three types. First one is hedging strategy. So it's like, you make some of your sentence becoming ambiguity. So for example, uh, the difference between the sentence, I disagree. In my opinion, my opponent, my opponent statement, my opponent's statement of understanding is wrong. Those sentence with this one sentence, I certainly disagree with my opponent opinion, because there are there are particular misinterpreting of of their statement. So it's basically, it's it's reduced some certain of degree of disagreement. So it's basically, it makes some ambiguity if you are analyze on that. And the second one, we have euphemism. Euphemism is basically how we soften language. So this way is oftenly used by the politician all around, by well, so it's basically how Israelian use the genocide, rather use the genocide word, they use some euphemism sentence to make it soften. And after that we have strategic ambiguity. So I'm not really understanding this case, but it's basically this, they use the strategies in a sentence to make some ambiguity so that those uh those commoners don't really understand what they mean, basically like that. And the second, they use this kind of language that the need of persuasion. So in this the need of persuasion, they are used multiple kinds of characteristic, which is manipulation, and the use of implicator as a suggestion. And the next institution that we're going to discuss is law. So in the law institution, there are some example that we are taking a look at. For the first, the characteristic of judicial interaction. This interaction use a lot of pattern in series of illocations. And second one, we have legal documents and generic integrity. And the last one, we have forensic linguistics. So because in legal field, so there's so many legal documents, and that we need a specific discourse in the legal matters. That is why there are study of forensic linguistics. And next one is bureaucracy institution. So this one means the interaction between the government and the citizen. So it's basically talking about the campaign that the bureaucracy people done in the research of effective governmental document and the research of government image, how they build their image within the use of the language that they use. And the next one is the media institution. So media is basically a special branch that study the mass communication. So because the globalization taking over this era, so basically the mass communication is used by via like press, TV, radio, and internet. So so basically, what are we trying to focus in? How neutral is the news, what we've seen in the internet or in the television? So in this case, we are trying to research on the production of the news and the perception of news. And last but not least, there are healthcare institution. So in this healthcare institution, we are try to analyze the language used between the patient doctor and psychiatrist and the patient. I think that's all for my presentation today. Thank you so much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.